Yet, even in these tough fiscal times, Marty has made sure we maintain our military superiority. And no one can match our services because no one can match our service. Members are sons and daughters who he's cared for like his own. In them, he sees the West Point classmates of his youth. He sees those he commanded. He sees their families and, in them, he sees his own. There's Deanie, of course, Marty's high school sweetheart, lifelong better half. Whose grace and resilience and good cheer embodies the military spouses she fights so fiercely for. Chris, Megan, and Caitlin, who followed in their father's footsteps to wear our nation's cloth. Marty's mother, Sarah, who we thank for making him give the military a try for the summer. Marty will be the first to tell you that he couldn't have done his job without his outstanding vice chair. And I, too, have depended on the advice and experience of Admiral Sandy Winfeld. Thank you, Sandy, for your outstanding service. In General Joe Dunford and General Paul Selva, two of the most respected officers. In our military we have tested leaders ready to carry on Marty and Sandy's work. I could not be prouder of them and the service they've already rendered this great nation. And I could not be more confident in the advice and counsel that they'll provide me. Thank you to them. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. Now, we're going to have a lot of work to do long after not just Marty is gone, but I'm gone from the stage. There are always new threats, there are always new challenges in this ever-changing world. We have to degrade and ultimately destroy ISIL, the remnants of Al-Qaeda, terror networks around the world. We have to adapt our defenses for the 21st century. We have to give our troops the support they need to meet their missions. We have to make sure that our forces and our families receive the pay and the benefits and the quality of life that they have earned. That is how we maintain a military that is second to none. And I am confident that we are up to the task. I'm told that on Marty's desk there's a box. It's a cigar box with 132 cards, each one with the name. Picture and story of every one of the 132 soldiers who gave their lives under his command in Iraq. And on top of the box are 3 words, make it matter. Make it matter. And every morning. Marty places 3 of those cards in his pocket, so that every moment as chairman, every meeting, every trip, every decision, every troop review, every moment of every day, some of those fallen heroes are with him. Those cards were with him a few years back when, for the first time as chairman, Marty spoke to a group of military children who had lost a parent. And that day, as he walked through the crowd, some 600 Gold Star kids, young, so full of hope, he began to think about their lives and how each of them would have to make their way without a father or a mother. And Marty had planned to speak, but he couldn't. So he did one of the things that he does best. He began to sing. And in that moment, the highest-ranking military leader in our nation forged a bond with those children, boys and girls who at such a tender age, had given up so much in a way that perhaps nobody else could. And year after year, they've invited him back, because they know Marty Dempsey will. Always give them everything he has, his voice, but even more, his full heart and soul. This is the man we honor today. A friend to so many troops and families across our military. A patriot with a profound love for our country and those who sacrifice for it. A trusted leader who in a time of great change made it matter all the time. I am extraordinarily grateful to have had him by my side through the bulk of my presidency. And I am extraordinarily proud to call him my friend. Marty, for your lifetime of extraordinary service, you have the deepest thanks of a grateful nation. God bless you. And God bless our men and women in uniform. Barack Obama. Address to you. S. Conference of Mayors. Delivered June 19, 2015, Hilton, San Francisco, Union Square, CA. Thank you. Thank you, mayors. Thank you so much. I love being with mayors. It is great to be. Here, although I did worry a little bit that Dennis Johnson would introduce me again. At the White House, he had the old Bulls theme song. And it set a very high bar, as if I was Michael Jordan coming out. and he is a great friend and I very much appreciate him, as I do so many of the mayors here. I saw a lot of you in Washington in January. I thought I had such a good time, let's meet this summer, as well. And this time, I thought I'd come to you. I want to thank our host, San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee. He was just in the White House for the San Francisco Giants championship visit. I know how excited the Bay Area is over the Golden State Warriors championship. I want to thank two outstanding public servants, Governor Jerry Brown and Leader Nancy Pelosi. Who are here with us today. And I want to thank this year's leaders of the Conference of Mayors, Kevin Johnson, Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake, and Oklahoma City Mayor Mick Cornett. I also want to mention a few outstanding mayors who are getting ready to step down. Michael Nutter of Philadelphia has done outstanding work. Greg Ballard of Indianapolis, an outstanding mayor. Doing great work with my brother's keeper, Anis Parker of Houston. And my dear, old friend, Michael Coleman of Columbus, Ohio. And finally, a great mayor, one of my favorite people. And I know one of the people all of you admire so much, a great mayor, Joe Riley of Charleston. Joe is back home doing one of a mayor's sadder, more important duties today. Obviously, the entire country has been shocked and heartbroken by what happened in Charleston. The nature of this attack in a place of worship. where congregants invite in a stranger to worship with them, only to be gunned down adds to the pain. The apparent motivations of the shooter remind us that racism remains a blight that we have to combat together. We have made great progress, but we have to be vigilant because it still lingers. And when it's poisoning the minds of young people, it betrays our ideals and tears our democracy apart. But as much as we grieve this particular tragedy, I think it's important, as I mentioned at the White House. To step back and recognize these tragedies have become far too commonplace. Few people understand the terrible toll of gun violence like mayors do. Whether it's a mass shooting like the one in Charleston, or individual attacks of violence that add up over time, it tears at the fabric of a community. It costs you money and it costs resources. It costs this country dearly. More than 11,000 Americans were killed by gun violence in 2013 alone. 11,000. If Congress had passed some common sense gun safety reforms after Newtown, after a group of children had been gunned down in their own classroom reforms that 90% of the American people supported, we wouldn't have prevented every act of violence. Or even most. We don't know if it would have prevented what happened in Charleston. No reform can guarantee the elimination of violence. But we might still have some more Americans with us. We might have stopped one shooter. Some families might still be whole. You all might have to attend fewer funerals. And we should be strong enough to acknowledge this. At the very least, we should be able to talk about this issue as citizens. Without demonizing all gun owners who are overwhelmingly law-abiding. But also without suggesting that any debate about this involves a wild-eyed plot to take everybody's guns away. I know today's politics makes it less likely that we see any sort of serious gun safety legislation. I remarked that it was very unlikely that this Congress would act. And some reporters, I think, took this as resignation. I want to be clear, I am not resigned. I have faith we will eventually do the right thing. I was simply making the point that we have to move public opinion. We have to feel a sense of urgency. Ultimately, Congress will follow the people. And we have to stop being confused about this. At some point, as a country, we have to reckon with what happens. It is not good enough simply to show sympathy. You don't see murder on this kind of scale, with this kind of frequency, in any other advanced nation on earth. Every country has violent, hateful, or mentally unstable people. What's different is not every country is awash with easily accessible guns. And so I refuse to act as if this is the new normal, or to pretend that it's simply sufficient to grieve. And that any mention of us doing something to stop is somehow politicizing the problem? We need a change in attitudes among everybody, lawful gun owners, those who are unfamiliar with guns. We have to have a conversation about it and fix this.